welcome to your Friday edition of Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Kickback today because you're wearing pants.
TGIF.
Yay!
We are at the weekend. We're what? Phase 1, week 2?
Something
now?
like that.
And I think
I've stopped counting the days.
life is starting to kind of go back into this, well, I say back, but it's starting to edge into this nice new normal, aka traffic jams.
Yeah, I was just going to say traffic jams. Traffic jams are a thing again nowadays. Exciting show coming up today. Today we're going to be discussing the 4-day work week. Is it something that you reckon Singapore could embrace and adopt? And would it work? Well, we're going to talk to the experts to find out. We've got James Walton from Deloitte joining us and also Charmaine Seah-Ong who'll be joining us in a few short moments. But before we get into all of that, Barbara, our giveaway for today.
Giveaway. We've always got the best stuff for you. Homegrown local workout wear brand Kydra is giving away $20 vouchers. All you need to do is like and share the Get Active TV Facebook page, share Kickback onto your page, and don't forget to drop us a comment. Tell us who is that one friend that you can't wait to work out with again once all this is over and we can work out with friends again.
You, Mine, I want to work out with you.
Oh, she's so competitive though. I get really stressed when we work out together.
Oh well, sucks to be you when you lose. Okay, so let's bring on our first guest then today. Please join us in welcoming our first guest, Charmaine Seah-Ong, co-founder of the marketing and branding agency Elementary Co.
Hello.
Charmaine, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Look at you, regular ray of sunshine. You got your hair did.
I know, first haircut since January.
Wow.
Yeah, so actually it wasn't just a circuit breaker, it was just me being lazy. I put it off and then, I can't go to the hairdresser anymore.
But you're looking so well put together. It seems like it's an elementary thing. Like you all look very well put together.
They're a very well put together company.
Yeah.
Like they always look on point and they're like, oh no, I just threw this on. And I'm like, oh,
literally,
when I throw things on.
Have to get the kids
don't
ready
look
in the
anything
morning.
like that.
So we want to talk today about the 4-day work week.
Yeah.
And when we started reaching out and talking to a few people and going, okay, 4-day work week, any companies in Singapore that do it? And you guys were like, we do. So tell us a little bit about the work that you guys do at Elementary.
Okay, so Elementary is a marketing and branding agency. So we have a design team and we have a marketing team. I kind of straddle between both. And 2 years ago, actually, we decided that we were going to try this 4-day work week. And we decided to try it during the most busy period that we had that year.
Wow.
Because we figured if we could really make it work here, like at this point of time, then it can definitely work throughout the rest of the year, right?
Yeah.
So what was the impetus for it though? What made you go, we need to do this?
Okay, well, all credit actually goes to my husband for this. So it's a company that I run with my husband. And he'd been reading a lot about it and we'd been discussing it as well. And it was something that he was always interested in trying out. I think even more so after we became parents of 2 kids, right? And Elementary is a company of 8 people at this point. And the largest we've ever been is 16. But we figured we were small enough to be able to, I guess, communicate this effectively and work it out within the team because we wanted to give them the freedom to own their own time. As you know, advertising and design, those are industries where working overtime is actually considered a norm.
Yeah, it's a given, right? I mean, if you're gonna be in an agency, then you're gonna sacrifice your life.
It's almost like there's a tagline, living the agency life.
Yes.
All the stuff that comes along with it means overtime.
So I worked in TV production. I worked for a company where I was in the marketing advertising team, and working overtime was the norm, right? Sometimes you leave the office like 3, 4 a.m. in the morning, and because of that, burnout happens a lot, and also people come and go very quickly, right? And we didn't want that, so we wanted to be able to give our team flexibility to choose which days in a week they wanted to do their own thing. So it wasn't just about working from home, it was about just being able to take an extra day of break. And we didn't want them to always feel like, appointments, having to spend time with my kids, I can only do that on the weekend.
Yeah.
Having 2 children made us realize that things will come up. You'll need to take like maybe 2 hours off to bring your kid for a jab or something. You don't want to take a whole day off or a half day off. Like, why does that need to be taken out of your leave? So we thought, okay, let's try this 4-day work week.
Hey, are you guys hiring? This sounds like a great deal.
It is. Many applications I'll get.
So it's worked then?
It has worked. And I mean, a lot of credit also goes to our creative director. So he takes care of the creative team. And I think for designers, a lot of them felt like they needed to be in the office. I mean, there was something they were used to. They needed to be in the office so they could communicate with their teammates. Their MacBooks were all in the office as well. So for them, they felt like it wasn't so easy if on the off day, they needed to work from home. But we told them that you having this additional day off, we're not gonna interfere with it. We're gonna respect that day, so you can do whatever you want. It doesn't mean you have to be at home waiting for your boss to email you or call you and say like, I need help with this. It's a day that you can just go off and do whatever you want. So our creative director, he sat down with his team and then they worked out a schedule. So now, at the start of every week or even 2 weeks before that, they put it into their calendars, which days they're going to be taking off. They work that out, they discuss it as a team. And so the whole company knows which day I'm off, which day my husband is off or whatnot.
So is it something whereby everyone gets the weekend off and then it's just one day during the week, or does it kind of, here are 7 days, pick 3?
Okay, so I know companies that do it in a way that everybody in the company gets the same day off a week. Say Fridays, everybody only works half a day or something like that.
Yeah.
But we wanted to give them the flexibility to choose. Yeah, so on top of Saturday and Sunday, they have an additional day off in the week that they can do their own thing.
So for that extra day off, is it a case of like, on top of Saturday and Sunday, they get an extra day? Or is it, here are 7 days, pick 3, whichever 3 you want?
No, so they get the weekend, regular weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then they get one additional day off of their choosing to do whatever they want to do.
And logistically, how does it work? Like,
I mean, so we all have a shared calendar in the office, right?
Okay.
We use Google Calendar. And we plan it in advance. So at least a week before, we would have put in the days that we're going to be off already.
So it takes a fair amount of planning then and foresight from the organization to say, okay, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to roll it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody needs to be responsible and mindful of not just their time and their needs, right? But then that of their co-workers as well. So if you know you have deadlines coming up or a bigger project, then it's up to them as teams to manage that as well and discuss and say like, okay, we need to do this. Can you cover for me on this day, or do we get it done before that? You know, how are we going to arrange our time so that none of us are taking on extra work?
So I know that you are a relatively small company, but I feel like within that, taking that sort of team atmosphere and that team environment, I feel like this practice could be replicated in a larger organization as long as everyone is looking at a team sort of level. If anyone were to be implementing this as a company that has already done this successfully, what is the one key tip that you think would be important for someone to also try and adopt this?
One key tip, I think having very open channels of communication is very important, you know, because you need to be able to feel comfortable enough to tell your boss, your team manager, hey, these are the things that I need to do. I can't cope with this, or I might need this day off because I have something to do. And how do we then as a team work around that, right? So it's really about talking to each other all the time to make sure that the team is never suffering because somebody isn't around. You know, so one of the things that we decided early on was that there always needs to be 2 designers in the office. Right? We have to have that many people in the office for the creative team to run efficiently, you know, so that clients don't say like, hey, where's my work, right? Or like, oh, then we can't say like, oh, because she's off, you know. So they need to be able to cover for each other. So I mean, and that is a very simple rule, right? 2 designers in the office, okay, they get that. So they always make sure that when they plan, they provide for that.
Very interesting. Okay, so we're going to take a short break, but when we return, we're going to bring in someone who has a bigger organization perspective, and we're going to be chatting about whether a 4-day work week would work for Singapore at large. Don't go away. This is Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Welcome back to Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Barbara's popped off for a little while to leave me with the hard-hitting discussion of a 4-day work week and whether it would actually work in a Singapore context. Joining us now is Mr. James Walton, client and markets leader for Deloitte Singapore. And we've been friends for quite some time now. We've seen each other in the sporting sphere for quite some time. But one of the big things for me is that Deloitte has, as a large organization, you have how many employees again?
Around 2,700 in Singapore.
That's pretty impressive. But the one thing that you guys have done, which has always impressed me, is that you practice hiring athletes and giving them flexible work arrangements so that they can get to training. So this idea of a 4-day work week or flexible working hours and arrangements is not a new thing for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, a scheme like that fundamentally wouldn't work unless we had a flexible working culture in some way in the organization. So we've had a number of schemes for years now. We have schemes where you can take a reduced work portfolio, so 60%, 80%, but it comes obviously with a reduction in pay as a result, because we need to be equal to all. You can also work from home for an afternoon or 1 day a week, and we see a lot of particularly parents doing that who want to maybe work in the office in the mornings, work from home in the afternoons. And yeah, the athlete scheme is part of that as well, because they need to manage their workload in such a way that they can leave for training at 6 o'clock in the evening, or that they can go to training camps and international competitions. And although that in itself is usually still a full portfolio of work, it does require a mindset of flexible work for the other people in the organization to allow them and to be fine with the fact that this athlete will leave at 6 o'clock while you're still in the office, but you still trust that they will get the work done. And the reason the scheme has worked, we've had this scheme for nearly 6 years now, employed over 120 national athletes for Singapore in the organization. The reason it's worked is because the athletes are diligent and productive, and they get their work done. They find a way to get the work done in the hours they have, so that they feel comfortable leaving on time and their colleagues support them. And that responsibility and that attitude to flexible work is really what makes it successful.
There's no guilt then to walk away at 6 o'clock, which, by the way, is also quite mind-blowing. It's like 6 o'clock, surely you should be allowed to go home, right? But then 6 o'clock and you're like,
it's a different life, to
I was
tell you.
going to say, it's hard for you guys, much as it is in advertising as well. And I think there's that common theme between the two of you of making sure that everybody is on the same page and that you're planning and everybody is making sure that they're accountable for their workload, right? And only in that situation will it work. Now in 2018, Channel News Asia actually put out an article there about working from home and whether it's right for you or not. And it was quite interesting just to hear or rethink back a 2018 perspective, because obviously in the past couple of months, everybody's been working from home and it's become the new normal. But what they realized was that people wanted to work from home because no one likes traveling during peak hour. It actually results in worse health. So you get heightened anxiety, increases in blood pressure, blood sugar levels, cholesterol. But the problem was, Ministry of Manpower back then was saying that employers would actually prefer their employees to take unplanned leave rather than giving flexible work arrangements. But it's funny how all that has changed. So, question to you guys, is Singapore ready for a more flexible working arrangement compared to the 2018 Singapore?
I would say that the current COVID situation and everybody having to work from home during circuit breaker has forced Singapore to be ready. You know, you can't say now that, I don't think my company could work with people working from home, because you had to do it for the last 2 months already, right? And it's proven that things are still moving along. So I
think it is. It's the employer attitude has changed because there wasn't the trust before, to your point, that it was always, I'm not sure if I trust that person to work from home. So honestly, even for ourselves, we say you can apply for the schemes, but whether or not you get accepted for the schemes depends on your boss.
On your boss.
So your boss may look and say, I'm not sure about that person, or you have to work here a little while. That trust element wasn't there. But I think the flip side of that as well is, I think a lot of employees didn't want it before. For whatever reason, they didn't feel they were being productive at home, and productivity is still important. I still have to get my job done whether I'm at home or in the office, or there's too many distractions. Or when home-based learning came in, a lot of my employees were like, okay, I was productive at home, but now with the kids around, I can't be productive at home anymore.
Adding home-based learning to the mix is a whole other thing altogether, a whole different discussion.
Actually, I think just having your kids around is like, I'd watch my husband trying to juggle being a parent
Yeah.
and working from home, and he's had like massive project deadlines during this period, and it's been very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So from a large organization's perspective, how did that all pan out?
Well, we've tried to help as well. I mean, the good thing in Singapore is, and this is something that may help in this regard, is that a lot of people do have helpers, and a lot of people have their family around them to assist in taking care of the kids, which in a lot of European countries, Western countries, is not the case, and is one of the challenges in those kind of locations. But we also tried, for example, during the school holidays and even during the HBL period, we tried to encourage more flexibility, work whatever hours you need to work. If you need to do your kids' HBL at a certain time, do it. And we even organized activities. We had competitions for the kids, art competitions, singing and dancing talent competitions, things like that, to keep the kids entertained during the circuit breaker holidays while they're locked in at home without even home-based learning.
That's pretty cool, and I think it's a great step that large organizations can start doing as well, just to try and keep that engagement going and making sure that your employees are still productive from home. I mean, we did a brief poll online in a very official format, Instagram. And the general feedback, 4-day work week, would it work in Singapore, yes or no? The general feedback is that people want it. But one of the largest concerns that kept on coming up was that people were afraid that their employers would still expect them to cram in as much work just in less hours, and potentially also reducing the pay because they're working for less hours. Do you think that would be the case if you're to look at a big picture point of view?
It depends a lot on what industry you're in. Obviously, if you're in an industry like retail, or if you're in an industry like manufacturing and you're literally on a production line, then your productivity is tied to the number of hours where you work. In a lot of office and creative jobs, it isn't necessarily, and a lot of people waste a lot of time in the office. You take breaks, social media, hanging out by the water cooler, all those kind of things.
It's true.
And the experience is, if you have to cram your work into 6 hours, as was the case when they did experiments in Sweden and other places, people spend less time on social media. They spend less time in meetings that don't need to be meetings. They get to the point a lot quicker. So it can happen. But you know, the big debate is, if we went to a 4-day working week, would we pay for 4 days, or would we pay the same pay that we pay now on 4 days? And I think that kind of debate, particularly in a Singapore context where we're all about, you know, condos, cars, credit cards, and all that, may lend towards more the kind of flexible work arrangements of work from home 1 day a week, or fit your work into whatever hours you want to fit to. Seems to be something that fits a little bit better than the idea of having 1 day less work and 1 day less pay.
So then, from your position then, Charmaine, of someone who has implemented the 4-day work week, did that get reflected in salaries, or how did that work?
So salaries didn't change. So we essentially kept salaries consistent, right? We haven't reduced anyone's salary. They just work less days. But so before coming on this show, I actually asked the team, you know, because I can say all of this from, you know, their boss's point of view, but I really wanted to know how they felt about the 4-day work week and whether they felt that it's been beneficial to them. And all of them said, yes, it has been, because number one, they feel respected and trusted as an employee. They know that we trust them to do the work and to finish it in the time that's been given to them. But having less time, I mean, because they want to have that off day, forces them to then work more productively. And it's been a good thing, because otherwise they spend time, and they've admitted they spend time shopping online, going out for longer tea breaks, sometimes they walk for ice cream breaks, you know, and things like that. So all of that has been reduced, you know, and it's not like they are slaving away their laptops, they're just working more efficiently, they're more focused, because they want to get it done faster so that they can then enjoy that full day off.
More energy, less sick days, all those kinds of things come out when it works.
They hardly take sick days, in fact. You know, ever since we've implemented this, the number of MC days has dropped drastically. And they really appreciate it because they feel like they have time to rest so they don't get burnt out, but also so that they can actually pursue their interests. So, I mean, for a lot of our designers, they like to do little small side gigs on the side, you know. So they have, I think, like more time and more room to express their creativity. And it's when they're doing that they get inspired for work, you know. So they come back to work and they are more refreshed, and they're happy to do the work that they've been given, because they don't feel like, you know, we've just been slave driving them.
Fair enough. Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. It's now that point in the show, though, where we're going to have a little challenge thrown their way. So each of you can take one of these. There we go.
It's more stressful than the actual interview.
Okay, so yeah, oh, goodness me, there we go. We're going to give you an eraser just in case. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a word which relates to the working world in sort of like an office context. And then you have to try and write out what it is you think that means.
Ooh.
Okay, so for example, if I give you the word back end, what do you think?
You want me to write it?
I just want you to tell me.
So back end to me means the back office and the bit that you don't see behind the scenes.
That is exactly right. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to throw you a word and then you have to write out and we're going to compare. Are you ready? The first word is big picture. It's a management key word.
You're giving this to a consultant.
Yeah. What is the big picture, James? You tell me. Okay, ready?
2 secs. My handwriting is also not readable, so I might claim it says anything.
You guys are really going all out. Okay, come on. Big picture. Let's have a look. James
I
says
have holistic, all things considered.
I have overall view, long term.
Long term. Okay, the definition I have, the ultimate goal and the main idea. There we go. That's not too bad. Okay, this is something that we hear all the time. Guys, we need to get your buy-in. What exactly is buy-in to you? What is buy-in? Let's see.
It's not like buying in, like getting a delivery. Right now I buy in.
Support and commitment, agreement. Actually, both of you are right. We've actually got exactly there, the support and commitment to and agreeing as an organization. So good
combine
job.
our answers.
You are combining your answers and being a holistic overall big picture view. Well, that's all we've actually got time for, guys. James, you are going to be changing into your workout gear.
Yes.
As an avid runner, you're going to be bringing us through some exercises for us to help our legs strengthen out a little bit more. Charmaine, thank you so much for sharing about what you guys have done at Elementary. Don't go away. We're going away for a short break. Remember to take part in our contest online as well and tell us exactly who you are looking forward to get working out with when this whole thing eases up. Let us know. You can walk away with Kydra vouchers. This is Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Don't go away.
Step right up, draw the next card. You water the bright animals, so get along with everybody else. Is the ship sinking? I've been thinking. Are we sinking? I've been thinking. Been a little time to get along. One of these days I'm gonna
So welcome back to Kickback with Kelly and Barbara and James Walton, who's going to be bringing us through a series of exercises that he does to make sure that his legs are all fired up and ready to run. Disclaimer though, he is just a runner, but we're going to make sure that he puts us through his paces. James, are you ready?
I think so, yeah.
Take it away, let's go. What's the first one that we're going to be doing?
So I think the first one we're going to look at is just a single leg squat from a chair.
Can I just stay on the chair?
No.
Oh, okay.
We can start up.
Yep.
So we'll start with the Bulgarian style.
Yep.
So foot out and foot flat to the back of the chair if possible, and make sure you're not too far away, and then simply go down as far as you can go down, trying to keep your body straight up, keep your posture up.
And we're going to be doing each of these for
20 seconds.
Well, 20 seconds
Per
for the
side.
single leg stuff. Ooh, I can already feel it in my glutes.
Feel that nice
Yeah,
little
you should be feeling
burn.
it up there in the quads and a little bit in the glutes. Yeah.
Okay, then I think we need to switch
And
over to the next
switch.
side.
Oop, missed the chair completely.
Oh, this is my weak leg.
Yeah, we all did the right leg, the strong leg first.
Another 5 seconds. What's the next exercise we're going to be doing?
So then we're going to sit down on our chairs,
Oh,
and
right.
we're going to try
Fine.
to get up.
get up. Oh dear.
So single leg, so that the hard way to do this is one leg up in the air. If you're not comfortable with that, you can just rest the heel on the ground for the other foot.
Foot down.
And then basically just try to lift yourself up on that leg, keeping your balance.
Okay, let's
So
go.
we'll set up.
Gotta have sound effects in this as well.
And we don't need to rush through these, right, James?
No, definitely not. In my experience, if you rush at the start, it gets much worse as you go on.
And this is, I mean, also really good rehab stuff, right? Single leg work is always good.
And switch.
Switch legs.
It's very good rehab stuff, and it's also something that MCCY has been promoting for the elderly
Yes.
as a good way of just, whether it's single leg initially or double legged, just to be active by getting up and down out of your chair.
And I guess it's a good way, especially when you're older, to make sure that you are getting up and out of your chairs. Okay, so we're done with the chairs. Let's scoot those off out. What's the next exercise?
Side to side lunges, yeah.
Side to side
like
lunges. Okay, here we go.
So
Ariana
for this
Grande.
You
space-
can go in front.
Okay.
Which way are we going first?
Right.
To the right.
So we're going to do 20 again. We're going to step out. Go nice and low. Try to keep a straight line down the left side. Back in.
In.
And out again. And again, we'll do 20 seconds in each direction. Should feel a bit here on the groin.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can really feel it in the creases there and also in the hip flexors.
Yeah. Try to make sure we keep the standing leg nice and flat to the ground.
Okay, I think we need to change sides.
Okay, and now to the left.
Last one, I think.
That cracking noise is me.
Okay. Then after this.
Okay,
Next
so
one.
now we're going to do skater hops.
Okay.
So there's a version of this that will be high energy, which we'll do. There's also a safe version if you're not onto bouncing on your feet, which is literally to step behind,
Step behind.
get nice and low so that you're really reaching. And if you want to do the high energy version, then effectively you keep your leg up.
Oh.
Balance.
Whoa.
Almost kind of shaking a little bit on that leg.
Yeah.
And hop, literally hop from one leg to the other, getting nice and low. Ooh.
We're not doing it in sync anymore.
We are not going to make a
Okay,
successful
last
boy
one.
band
Come on,
anytime
guys. Let's
soon.
put in some work.
Come on. We can get coordinated. We can get coordinated.
Oh, okay.
Other way.
Here we go.
We're trying.
To the right.
It's not true what they say about sisters, is it? There's
No.
really there's no symmetry there.
Absolutely not. James, thank you so much for providing us with one of your workouts, which is always nice to see because everybody has something different that they are doing at home as well. So it's good to see a good variety. So thanks for joining us on the show today.
No, thank
Remember
you
to
for
make
having
sure
me.
that you join us again next week. We've got a great lineup of guests coming your way on Kickback with Kelly and Barbara.
That's
so
right.
Make sure you join us again next week.
That's now that we've had our workout buddy with us, do not forget to tag us and tell us who is your workout buddy that you can't wait to work out with once all this is over. And you might just walk away with vouchers from Kydra.
Alrighty, we'll see you again next week. Have fun. Bye-bye.